Okay, it's time for more rambling because I don't feel like I appropriately rambled enough following this effort today. And I got my slippers on. The AC is running, and I'm driving home. But there's more to say. So, I'm just going to kind of recap the day. And we're going to see how much overlap there is from what I said earlier, because I really do not remember anything that I said. I started this morning around 6. And just started going. It was a really nice, calm, beautiful morning. There wasn't a lot of sun. It was cool. It wasn't windy, so it wasn't uncomfortable at all. I started with the west side. I did a clockwise loop around Three Finger Jack. I thought that would be nice because it would give me shade in the morning over the mountain, and then in the afternoon it would give me shade of the mountain again. That was wrong. But, I mean, that doesn't matter. The first part of the hike was kind of the climb. It was not super much. It was probably 2,000-ish feet, I'm guessing, over 6 miles to get kind of to the mountain. Then, just kind of heading down. As I was heading down the mountain, it was, around 8 a.m. The sun was fully out, and I didn't really have much shade after that. That was the next 4 or 5 miles. I didn't really need much for fuel or hydration at that point because it was cold enough. I wasn't really sweating. It was a pretty standard effort, even the first 10 miles. This is nothing special here. But then once I got to the point where I decided, we're gonna make this an even 30. We're not just gonna do a 25. There's something nice about 30 miles. I think my longest in the past has either been an 18 or a 22. And I'm not 100% sure on that. It might have been a 20 or 20 and a half. My longest was in the Grand Canyon. I was going to do a rimmed R3 last year, but when I ended up being there was during an Arizona heat wave. And so by the time that I got down to Phantom Ranch at 8 in the morning, it was 125 degrees out. And much to my dismay, I listened to myself about how I would probably die if I continued, and I turned around. It was very hot the rest of the way out. This isn't even relevant to this hike at all. But anyway, I did that last year, almost died, but I made it out. Got severely de-electrolyted. I don't really know what the proper term for that is, but I learned what it's like to not have enough electrolytes, and you cramp up and you cannot move anymore. And it is a motherfucker when you are standing in the sun in Arizona in the Grand Canyon and you cannot move or have any way of finding shade. Anyway, I don't even know where the hell I was. I got to the point where I knew I was going to do some more. So I was like, all right, it's about 3 more miles each way to go to this lake up here. About another 1,000 feet of elevation. I was like, that'll be great. It'll give me to about 30 miles. It'll give me some more elevation. That's more what I'm looking for. And it's funny how when you're walking downhill and you're comfortable because it's cool outside, you are much more optimistic about doing extra miles than when you're walking uphill and it's hot. But obviously made it out. Anyway, so I did those extra. By the time I got to that lake, I think I was at mile 14 and a half. So I was like, all right, this is just about perfectly halfway. Now I just need to turn around and finish the loop. I don't sat down. First time actually stopping for more than, to pee or get a drink of water. But I stopped, I sat down, I had a peanut butter sandwich and some jerky, and took my shoes off. I changed my socks. I had no blisters at this point. Everything was good. I've had these crispy altitudes for a little over a year now, and I've done many hundreds of miles in them, and I love these boots. The only time I've ever gotten a blister on them before was when I did the Grand Canyon, and I got a blister on my right toe, next to the tiny toe, pinky toe, when I was heading down in the morning. That's the only blister I've ever gotten, and I've done many other 15, 17, 18 mile days in these boots. So feet were good. Today I ended up getting 2, just blisters starting. I leuko-taped them. Probably I'm on mile 20, 22. Just little teeny tiny things. One once again on that same toe as last time, and then one kind of on my forefoot, just on the very edge. Only on my right foot though. I'm not gonna blame the boots. I'm gonna keep running them because they are fantastic. They're like wearing slippers most of the time. Anyway, I started heading back from lunch, and the sun was really starting to be out then. About 3-ish miles, not 3, about 2 miles back from lunch, back to where it was about 3 miles to where I split off the trail to do the one-way, and about 2 of those miles were covered. The last mile was uncovered and it was hot. Luckily it was downhill, but the heat was starting to get to me, because I hadn't really dealt much with the heat earlier that day, so that's like, first heat, whatever. I had to stop about mile 19, I guess. I want to say 19 to deal with that first blister that I was getting. Just sat down in this one shade tree I could find, and just covered it up real quick, kept moving. I have this issue where I'm really trying for metrics. I don't know why. Having one of these Garmin watches, it makes you just try to compete against yourself so much, and it's like I don't want to sit for more than I have to because my average time goes down, so it sucks. And so I'm just pushing myself that I need to not take as many breaks, and I know maybe I should break, but I just don't feel like I need them. I'm happy just walking. I don't have a water bladder. I think it would be easier if I brought a water bladder instead of bottles, because I have to pull my bag off when I'm in my day pack, because it's not my X-ray. And I need to pull the bottle out, and that's just a hassle. And then when you're trying to walk and drink with a wide mouth analogy, you just cover yourself, and it sucks. But anyway, I think that's a learning, is for an event like this, where miles are the goal, bring a water bladder. That was a big one. After that, it was more walking and more heat, and it's like there was not shade, basically. There was one spot that had shade after the morning. But I was just walking, and I was getting really hot and down, and there was no shade, and I was kind of to the point where it's like, I haven't spit out water in a while, and I need to, I had I think 1.5 liters left. My mileage is probably wrong here, because I know this next mileage for sure. But I had about 1.5 liters water left, and I was like, I don't need to conserve this, but I need to think about it before I drink, because I don't know where the next water is. And right about then is when I was exactly at mile 20, and I could hear a stream, and I basically ran to it, and I dunked my hat in it, and I through my body in it, and it was so nice. It's like as soon as that first time I dumped my hat in it, put it on my head, it's like I was a new person. Like I went from sweaty and gross and miserable to, all right, this is fine. It's a good day. And then once I laid in that stream, it's like, all right, this is like I just restarted this morning. There was nothing better than just laying in there. I threw an element packet in my half liter of water that I had left, and I just chugged that down really quick, filled the bottle up, drank that, and then filled the bottle up again to take with me. And that was just a huge boost right there. About mile, let's call it 16 through 20, there was just no shade. It was hot, it was unpleasant, and that's why I also had to deal with that first blister. Otherwise, my feet were fine and everything was okay. I was just hot and really uncomfortable and miserable. Good time. Fun memories. Type 2 fun, right? Yeah, that's the start of it. But so once I got to that little stream, crossed over it, and that's when things started to, I think, I don't really know what happened after that. It was about 3 miles of it was nice covered walking. There was a bit of elevation, but it wasn't bad. But the biggest thing was it was in the trees and it was next to the stream the entire time. It was so pleasant. I enjoyed it. It was a nice walk. It kind of reminded me of the peaceful part of hiking, not just going out there to, try to see if you hurt yourself, I suppose. But, yeah, that was nice. There was a few times on the hike today where it's like, I tried to enjoy it because there were some really nice views. I saw some mountain goats. So I stopped and took a couple of pictures. And that was the enjoyable part. That was more in the morning because it was cool and enjoyable. The views were better in the morning just on that side of the mountain. But anyway, back to the story. After that 3-ish mile stint in the trees, it came to a lake, which was also a different trailhead. So there was a few more people there, which was fine. But I decided, all right, looked at the map. Okay, I have 9 miles at least of misery coming up. So I decided to sit down there again, and I got a drink, and I ate my second peanut butter sandwich, and took my shoes off again. I didn't change my socks this time. I did, because it was that one of the blister that was coming up. It's like I put my shoe back on, and I could just immediately feel like, oh yeah, there was a spot right there, and pulled my sock up. Yes, there was a little, pea-sized piece of skin that had ripped off. So I just quickly Leuko-taped that. Went on my way. Wow, this has been a long time rambling. But, yeah, then I, dunked my hat back in the water. Felt good. I was going to dunk my body in the water again, but after dunking my body in the water the first time, I started to get some chafing. And I didn't want that to happen again, so I just accepted whatever. I'll be slightly warmer, but I will not be uncomfortable. Well, then the start of the walk, basically back. It was kind of at that point where it's like, man, I am 2/3 of the way through this. I'm just walking back to the truck now. And, I don't know, the last 9 miles were all pretty much just blurs. Just walk in the heat, try not to get too hot. Dunk my hat into every stream that I could. Drink about 1 liter of water per hour for 3 miles-ish. Jolly Ranchers are fantastic. I've always written that in my notebook. When I go backpack hunting, I always write in my notes, bring some sort of hard candy, and I always forget. I just sucking on a Jolly Rancher while you're walking. It's it's constant energy. It's sugar. It's tasty. It takes your mind off of the fact that you're walking, and they last about a third mile apiece. So those were great. We'll definitely do that again. Yeah. I was just feeling a lot of, like, just walking back to the truck now. I just got to get back to the truck. My legs, I mean, they were sore. My feet are sore, but I'm not, like, in pain. I'm not hurting. I'm not dying. I'm definitely going to take some Advil after I finish this video, because I know I have some somewhere here. I don't have anything to drink it with. Yeah, it was also, like the last couple of miles of the hike. Once I hit 30, and like I didn't know exactly how much I had left, I was like, that's probably about 1.5 miles, 2 miles. It was just like, I'm kind of sad right now. Like, I don't, like, yes, I don't want to be doing this anymore, but I don't want it to be over either. It's just, I think at the end, like, if I had to do more, I could have. I don't know where I would have done it. I would have needed to sit down, rest, and think about it for a second. It's like, even picking my legs up right now was hard, but once you get into that rhythm, and it's just, your legs are just moving. Like, I'm not controlling them anymore. They are just going. Like, I can say speed up or slow down, but they are just doing the moving. The human body can do a lot of stuff. It's incredibly capable. And you can go further than you think you can. What I don't know is if I would have done something with twice the elevation, how I'd be feeling right now, especially in this heat. I think I would have had to pay a lot more attention to my hydration. For sure. Like, if there was streams all along the way or something that I could cool off in, I think that would have been okay. One thing I was also trying not to do was get my boots wet at all, because I did not want to walk in a squishy boot. So I was really careful about that as well. My feet, like, they sweat a little bit, but even when I pulled my socks off, there was moisture there, but they weren't wet. Next pair of socks was definitely necessary evil to bring in the backpack. I guess I should probably try this again. I think I'd rather try more miles and more elevation than more weight. I was happy with my day pack. I think I weighed it this morning at 15 pounds, just because I brought 4 liters of water and quite a bit of food. Other than the Jolly Ranchers that I was eating, basically, I think I brought 20 of them, and they're all consumed. I also had these little muffins that my sister made. They were like banana bread muffin, like little tiny muffin bites, like, the size of I don't know, muffin bites. Little tiny muffin like this. Like this tall. These. Those were great. Basically, every time that I got water, I also shoved a couple of those in my mouth, and I think they were a good energy source. I did not do a macro breakdown for this, which was very odd for me, because I am already very anal about that. But when I was packing for it, I knew that I needed carbs. I knew that I needed a little bit of protein. I had a protein shake at the trailhead, and then I had a couple ounces of jerky. And while I was up there, and a couple of, meat sticks, I probably had, not including the protein shake, 40 grams of protein while I was out there. Really not very much. Maybe 60. You can put the peanut butter. Pretty dry jerky for a couple ounces. Anyway, not a lot of protein. A lot of carbs. Fat. It kept me moving. I never... Everyone says bonk. I don't actually know what bonk is. But it didn't happen. I know that because there was never a point where I just felt like I was going to die or like I lost all energy. And I think that's because I was constantly fueling. One, because I like to eat, and I think that's the biggest thing. I just like to eat, so I kept eating, and I knew that I needed carbohydrates to fuel my body for this endeavor. So, I kept eating them. And I think that really helped me. I've on some of my hikes before, I've learned what it's like to not have enough electrolytes on one, Grand Canyon. I've learned what it's like to be dehydrated on another. Funny enough, not the Grand Canyon. I was not dehydrated at that time. That was on a deer hunt. Recognizing when that's about to happen is incredibly useful. I cannot stress that enough. If you can feel when you're starting to get dehydrated or when you need salt, it can really help. I don't want to say I'm disappointed. I didn't have some epiphany like that on this hike. But I don't really know. I'm tired. I'm sore. I don't really want to walk anymore today. I don't really want to walk tomorrow. We'll see how my legs feel in the morning. They're just sore right now. They're not in pain. I can move them around just fine. I don't know. I'm really glad my ankle held up because I had that really bad sprain earlier this year, and I was very careful about that. Like, I do not want to roll this fucker 15 miles deep. So that was nice. I don't know. It was a very nice time. I definitely want to do another one. I don't know when. I want it to be soon. I wanted to do the Timberline Loop this year. I was going to do that for my death hike. I don't know how that would have gone. Because that's 40 miles and double the elevation. So 10 more miles, 8 more miles. 9 more miles. And double the elevation. I don't know how that would have went. I want to try it though. And if I don't try it in a day, I'm at minimum going to backpack it in August and do it as a 2-day. So I can do 2 days of 20 miles to test my endurance that way. Maybe do a 30 and 10. I don't know. I want to do it this year. I've always said I want to do it. But I just don't know how that would have gone. You talk to yourself a lot while you are while you're walking, because you're staring at your feet. This is mileage covering. This isn't enjoying the country. This is just looking at your feet and walking, keeping your head down, especially when the sun's blaring on it and you don't want to be hot. So there's that. I don't even know what I was just saying. Definitely tired. Oh, shit. It was a really nice day. I'm glad I did this. I had to wake up at 3 to drive 2.5 hours out here. So that added to the, unpleasant. I did my backpacking challenge the night before. I mean, it was nothing special. It was 6 miles in, 6 miles out. So really not anything that I should even bring up because it's so insignificant. Biggest thing was being tired. I'm excited to sleep in tomorrow. That's gonna be nice. I'm glad I got it done. I'm glad I had some time to disconnect from the real world and just walk some more up and down hills and over stumps, logs, and bushes. and see 10,000 butterflies. That was pretty cool. There was a lot of butterflies. But anyway, learnings displayed, rambling accomplished, longest day of moving I've ever done. Check. I'm gonna go have a cheeseburger and milkshake. And we'll see if anybody ever sees this video.